In 1079 AD, the ambition of the Pope and the greed of feudal lords intertwined, shrouding the European continent in the shadow of war. Various lords enacted tragedies of fratricide as they fought over barren lands. Meanwhile, countless knights, driven by faith, a desire for wealth, or a need for redemption, answered the call and embarked on a journey to the distant east. This was the historically renowned First Crusade. However, the story begins with a bloody massacre in the heart of Europe. Under the cover of night, Saracen scimitars sliced through the silence of a village like the sickles of the Grim Reaper. Villagers fled in panic amidst fire and blood. Arrows whistled through the air, defenders fell where they stood, and desperate wails echoed through the night sky. Amidst the chaos, a man named Alessio was anxiously delivering a baby for his wife, Elvia, who was on the verge of labor. In the ruins of the slaughter, a cry announced the arrival of a new life. A Saracen warrior, wearing a cross on his chest and participating in the killing against his will, witnessed this and was moved by compassion. Ultimately, he entrusted the infant to the Christian, Alessio, believing that the divine makes no distinction between faiths. Thus, this son of a Saracen was reborn into a Christian family, named Peter, and raised alongside Alessio's newborn daughter, Maria. Years later, the children had grown into adults. Peter inherited his foster father's wisdom and held a deep curiosity for ancient books and craftsmanship. Between him and Maria, feelings had long transcended sibling affection, blossoming into a pure romance. However, Peter's status as a bastard became an insurmountable chasm between them.
Why did God bring me into the world if only to punish me this way?
His foster father, Alessio, comforted him, saying that everyone comes into this world with their own mission and destiny. To make his beloved Maria the most dazzling queen at the May Day festival, Peter devoted himself to studying ancient formulas and distilled a unique rose essence. This magical scent, condensed with his love, delighted Maria. "Now you are the most enchanting May rose." As their passion deepened, they couldn't help but share a kiss, only to be caught in the act by Maria's fiancé, Bastiano. Peter's identity as a bastard was once again publicly humiliated, and the two hot-blooded young men got into a brawl. Just then, horns sounded in the distance. Lord William, having fought abroad for many years, had finally returned in triumph. His return temporarily quelled the dispute, but laid the groundwork for a greater storm. At the welcoming ceremony, Lord William announced that Jerusalem was still in enemy hands and that he would raise an army once more to reinforce the holy city. Furthermore, he vowed to build a magnificent church in his homeland and commissioned Master Alessio to cast a giant bell that would let the voice of faith resonate for a century. At the banquet, William's son, Richard, yearned to follow his father to war and establish his own legacy.
Father, I must speak to you. About the crusade, I want to leave with the reinforcements. I feel that every day spent here is another day wasted.
However, William's brother, Corrado, who had abused his power and engaged in corruption during his brother's absence, was ordered by William to go to the Holy City to wash away his shame through combat. William even exposed Corrado's plot to install his own son, Bastiano, as the heir, and ordered them to depart together. This judgment caused Corrado and his son to harbor a deep grudge, and a conspiracy against William began to brew. Amidst the revelry of the crowd, Bastiano found Peter and Maria again. Consumed by jealousy, he forcibly dragged Maria away. The two hid in a secret room where Peter recited the Song of Solomon from the Bible to express his love to Maria, passages that Alessio had taught him to read.
You stole my heart. My sister, my bride. You stole my heart with a single look.
However, their tenderness was interrupted again as Bastiano broke in with his men and dragged Peter into the street. Corrado seized the opportunity to attack, falsely accusing Peter of being a warlock who used dark arts to bewitch Maria.
I have the evidence. This is what he used to bewitch her.
He produced the rose essence Peter had given her as evidence, inciting the populace by claiming Peter was a Saracen bastard with the devil's blood flowing in his veins.
Peter, it's terrible.
We're attacking my guard. I sentence you to 30 strokes of the stick.
Using the excuse that Peter had attacked his guards, Corrado publicly ordered Peter to be punished with 30 lashes. The executioner was none other than Bastiano, who hated Peter to the bone. Amidst the screams of flesh being torn open, Andrew was burning with anxiety. He desperately tried to see Lord William, but was blocked by Richard's guards.
Wait!
Upon learning that his uncle Corrado dared to use private torture during the celebration of his father's return, Richard was furious.
Stop it!
He galloped to the scene and stopped the atrocity just in time.
On the holiday of my father's return, you let a crowd kill a man?
Facing Corrado's excuse of maintaining dignity, Richard remained unmoved. He ordered Peter's release and drove away the onlookers. Corrado lost all face and cast a spiteful curse at Richard's retreating back. Having endured this humiliation, Peter could no longer bear the identity of a bastard. He decided to leave his hometown and join the Crusaders to find his destiny in a faraway land. Alessio understood his pain and gifted him a pilgrim's wooden staff symbolizing peace, hoping he would remember that he was a product of love, not an embodiment of hate. Outside, Maria waited anxiously, but Peter, not wanting her to see him in such a wretched state, cruelly refused to see her. A few weeks later, as Peter packed his bags to leave, Maria found him again and demanded to know why he was leaving. Peter painfully admitted that he had nothing and could not give her happiness. Maria firmly replied, "You can give me everything." However, the gears of fate had already begun to turn. On the very day Peter was preparing to depart, Corrado set an ambush and led rebel troops in a surprise attack on William's convoy. Unprepared villagers and soldiers fell under a rain of arrows and iron hooves. A bloody massacre was unfolding once again. Peter and Richard fought bravely, protecting the fleeing villagers. Corrado's men stormed into Alessio's home, forcing him to reveal the location of his silver. Peter, hiding in the shadows, rushed out and fought the enemies, trying to save his foster father. However, Lord William was struck by stray arrows in the chaos and died on the spot. Father! Witnessing his father's tragic death, Richard was consumed by rage. With bloodshot eyes, he charged at his cousin Bastiano, who was in the midst of the slaughter. After killing his cousin with his own hands, Richard became a wanted criminal. In this catastrophe, Alessio was also mortally wounded. On his deathbed, he once again entrusted Peter with the mission to cast that giant bell for the church, so that the sound of peace and faith would echo forever. To make Peter give up completely and leave this place of trouble without lingering attachments, Maria cruelly spoke heartless words.
I was wrong to say I would never marry Bastiano, and as soon as I marry him, you'll mean nothing to me.
She told Peter she would soon marry Bastiano and that she no longer loved him. Peter's heart was thoroughly shattered. He threw away their token of love and left resolutely.
I've broken his heart.
Maria could only weep silently behind him, knowing this was the only way to protect him. On the road to exile, Richard found Peter and Andrew. The former noble was now a homeless wanderer with a broken family. He decided to abandon his title and join the Crusaders as a common soldier, fighting for faith rather than power or revenge. The three bonded as brothers, swearing an oath, the past is dead, and the future will be carved by their own hands. They embarked on the long journey to the Holy City. Upon arriving at the port, they joined a ragtag army composed of various factions. One of the commanders was a Viking chieftain from the north named Olaf. He despised these ragged farmers and runts, believing they were going to the battlefield only to die. Olaf noticed Richard hiding among the crowd, his words filled with mockery and probing regarding the former noble.
Would you be worth dead?
And when he learned that Peter was merely a founder who cast bells, he let out a scornful laugh. Under Olaf's brutal training, the recruits suffered unspeakably.
Who wants to be next?
Olaf was forced to admit that this former noble might actually make a good warrior.
See, will not harm you! You're with me!
Hey! Wake up! We've arrived at the Holy Land!
What are you looking at?
Your eyes. You are not like him. You are like me.
Bismillah!
Do you know this?
After surviving a perilous voyage across stormy seas, they finally arrived in the Holy Land. However, this land, legendary for flowing with milk and honey, welcomed them with desolation and danger. Olaf learned from an Armenian guide that there was a Saracen lair nearby that had slaughtered monks and stolen holy relics. He chose this place as the battlefield for the recruits' first engagement and appointed Andrew as the vanguard. However, after they stormed the village and unleashed a massacre, Peter discovered a badge engraved with Hebrew text on the body of a dead enemy. They had not slaughtered Saracen bandits at all, but a group of unarmed Jewish scholars.
The Armenians have tricked us. This is not the lair of plunderers. It's we who are plunderers.
Driven by greed, Olaf's soldiers rushed into the yeshiva to loot and pillage. Richard tried to stop this shameless plunder but was rebuked by Olaf.
What are you saying? We're here to fight for the faith. We are not plunderers.
In the chaos, Peter saved a boy fleeing with scrolls of scripture. When he caught up to the fugitive, he was shocked to realize this boy was actually a young girl, disguised as a man. The girl's name was Rachel. She had disguised herself solely to enter the seminary and study the Torah, which women were forbidden to touch. Seeing her thirst for knowledge, Peter was reminded of himself, and he returned the scrolls she had risked her life to protect. Meanwhile, the greedy Olaf and the Armenian guide were preparing to sell the captured Jews as slaves, with Rachel among them. Andrew and Peter's treasonous plot was exposed, and Olaf ordered both of them executed. Andrew finally snapped. He publicly exposed the truth. Olaf had colluded with the guide to deceive everyone into slaughtering civilians for personal profit. We are fighting for faith, not to be bandits. Exposed and humiliated, Olaf flew into a rage and challenged Andrew to a duel. He forgot that he himself had once taught Andrew. On the battlefield, the only rule is kill your enemy. In the end, Andrew used the very method Olaf had taught him to end Olaf's life. However, victory brought no joy. Andrew agonized, questioning himself, why had he done all this? Gazing at the devastated camp and the soldiers left leaderless, Andrew sank into profound confusion. He had saved Rachel, yet he could not explain why he had associated with such beasts. His impulsive kiss was met with Rachel's disgust and the words, "You are just as bad as them." The leaderless soldiers ultimately chose to proclaim Andrew as their new leader. He released all the Jewish captives and led this lost and confused troop as they embarked once again on their journey. But what kind of fate awaited them ahead?
And now free the slaves and get ready to leave. We shall march again! Yeah!